Hey folks, welcome back to another Bottom 5 right here on the Dice Tower. I'm Sam.
I'm JT.
This day, we'll tackle the year 2009.
What'd you feel about this year?
This is 2007. No, 2008 all over
again. So I said the exact same thing. So I did a really funny thing. So I went back to 2007. There are 25 games in the top 1,000 on BGG. Not that 25 games of 2007 are the top 1,000. And most of those 25 I know people love. And I haven't played them all, obviously,
right.
but I know people love. And then 2008, it's only 16. And of those 16, like half of them I don't even know.
Yeah.
There's very few. 2009, there's 33. But most of those, I have no idea. Most of them, I have no idea what they are.
Oh, I went up to 10 pages.
I did too. And
that's 1,000. That's 1,000 titles. That's 1,000 titles, and I came up with, I think, 11 games. 11 games out of 1,000.
I'm there with you.
And I was super happy to find that 11th because one of the 10, I was like, I really don't want to put this game on my list. There's so many games.
Yeah.
That have always come out every year.
Always. Yeah.
Thousands
35
of games.
pages again.
Yeah. Thousands of games come out every year. Not all of them are going to be good.
Nope.
Not all of them are going to be good. And which one of them are good is largely dependent upon the individual. Here it comes. Our numbers 10 through 6 of 2009. Let's hit it. All right, my number 10 is actually not the game that I said I really don't want to put this on my top 10. But I did put it on there because, and people are going to say, Sam squeaked that one on there because this is not, I am not a party game person. This is a party game. But I've used this so many times, and people have a blast playing this game every single time it hits the table. At a game night, in our house, whatever it might be. Number 10 is Telestrations. And if you're going to get Telestrations, I'm kind of being a little bit of a hypocrite here because I don't have it, but you need to get the 12-player pack of Telestrations.
There's a 12-player pack?
There is a 12-player party pack
differentiation.
of Telestrations.
Right.
We have just the regular retail version, but there is a 12-pack version of Telestrations, and if you don't own the 12-pack version, you need to go get it because the more the merrier with this game, usually. And the fun of the game isn't playing it. It's listening to people explain
how they got there.
Their book, explain their
100%.
The journey, I guess you could say, if you want to call it that, of how people interpreted everybody's drawings. So that's my number 10, Telestrations. Not because I think it is all that in a bag of chips. It's just super useful, and it's an evergreen for me.
Sure. That's a super fun game.
Yep.
I'll play Telestrations any day.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
I mean, it doesn't take long.
No,
it's not like it's a long game. It's a party game, and everybody, it's just a really chill time of sitting around and playing the game. So I totally get it, but it's just usually not my wheelhouse.
My number 10 is a party game as well. I think this was a good year for party games, probably.
Yeah.
My number 10 is a party game with a donkey on the cover called Smart.
Hey, language.
Sorry. You can bleep that out. Beep, beep, beep. This is a great party game. Basically, if you're the clue giver, you have a card with a bunch of clues on it, and everybody else is trying to guess it, but they only get to guess once on their turn. So you're going to give them like 10 clues. I think it's 10, 8 or 10. You're going to give them like 10 clues, and anybody can guess anytime and just blurt it out. And if they're wrong, they're out of the round. If nobody gets it, you get the points. Otherwise, whoever gets it first. And it's just a ruckus of a good time.
There was another one called Smarty Pants that I think is older than this game, maybe.
Oh, really?
But I think it was the same kind of idea, but you got to move up a ladder, a point ladder, and whoever got to the end of that ladder first was the winner. I don't know if it was exactly the same, but whenever I think of this game, Smarty Pants, I always think of Smarty Pants at the same time.
Well, this game came out in 2 different ways, the board game and the card game. This is the card game.
Yeah.
The card game's funner. It's just easier, lighter. You don't need a board and stuff like that. But,
Yep.
But it's a really fun game.
It's cool. My number 9 is a game that I championed for a very long time when I was with the Dice Tower.
It's a crossover for sure.
Steve Jackson Games.
Just kidding.
I don't even know if you've played this one. It wasn't very widely. Steve Jackson
Munchkin
Games.
Booty 2?
No.
Just so you know.
Cut out the booty talk, man.
That one came out a couple years ago. We talked about it. And
2008.
And number 2 came out in 2009.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
I just saw it on the list.
Definitely
I've never
not.
played either one.
Definitely not. Philip Duberry is the designer of this game. Steve Jackson Games put it out, and it is called Revolution. And it just had it had a neat mechanism where you had basically 3 different currencies that you could use. You could use gold, you could use physical force, or you could use what do you call it when you blackmail. And that's what the actual token was. It was an envelope, but it was a black envelope. Anyway, you could use these 3 different kinds of currency. Yeah, 3 different kinds of currencies to influence different parts of town. It was basically an area control game. But it was really a neat mechanism, and I enjoyed it a lot. It had a good production value. It was a lot better production value than most Steve Jackson games, which is one of the reasons I think I latched onto it as much as I did. Everybody else was just like, yeah, it's okay. It's not that great, but I really enjoyed it.
I don't think I've ever even heard of it.
Well, I've got it. It's right behind us somewhere.
You own it?
Yeah, I still own it. It's right up there. See? You got
see it.
gold.
Yeah.
Blackmail and force. You can use the force.
You can use the force?
No, it's not a Star Wars game. Yeah. But if it's physical force, it's like you're beating people into submission. But it's a really neat game, and you score points based on what buildings throughout the town that you have the most influence in. And there's different in-game bonus, not in-game, but in the game bonuses that you can get by controlling these different buildings and so forth. I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. That's my number 9, Revolution.
And going around in circles. No, okay. My number 9, you're going in a straight line because you're riding a horse in the Pony Express. And it's called Pony Express.
Oh.
That's a
I didn't see this
It's
one.
a cute old game. Yeah, you got this track that goes from... I can't remember the starting city. I think you're going to Sacramento, and you just have this, winding track that you're trying to get across. And on the track, you're going to hit different bonuses and stuff like that. You might hit a TP and have to fight with Indians, or you might, if you land on somebody else's spot, then you have to have a duel. And the duel, I'm not much of a dexterity game, not because I can't do them. I just they annoy me sometimes when stuff goes flying off the table, but. This is a game where you have
I'm also not good at it.
When you have a duel, you put your 2 guys on the opposite end of the board and you flick a dice at them, and if you knock them down, they have to give you half their gold. And vice versa. You can also get bystanders out there in the middle of the table, and if you hit one of them, then you go to jail or something like that. But
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's just a goofy old game.
Yeah. No, there's been some Pony
cute.
Express games out there, and I remember playing them, but I didn't see this one. I might have to go back and look at it now to see if it's the one.
It kind of has that same. Well, it doesn't have a liar's dice thing, but on your turn, you're going to roll a cup of dice, and you're not going to show anybody.
Okay, this is a different game then.
And you're going to say, I have, and based on what you got on the dice is how far you get to go on the track and other things. So you're like, I have 4 of a kind, and the other people can be like, you're bluffing or you're telling the truth, and if they call you out and you're telling the truth, then they have to go to jail, and just all these different little.
That sounds cool,
things,
actually.
but-
I like the liar's dice mechanism. I just don't like it when it's the only thing.
Yeah, and then all the faces do different things. A lot of them are for movement, but you can get gold and everything else. But you're basically trying to get to the Sacramento, to the last mailbox, and you win. But
That's cool. That's cool. I'm going to have to check that one out. All right, my number 8. My number 8 is a social deduction game, and it is by Indie Boards and Cards, designed by Dawn Eskridge, and it is called The Resistance. And The Resistance has usually been kind of pushed to the side by a lot of people who would rather play Avalon. They just felt like Avalon was a little bit of a cleaner system.
Mm-hmm.
But the Resistance, I've always enjoyed for the futuristic vibe that it had.
Sure.
I liked having to pick your team. I liked having to deduce who you think would be, who would be safe to put onto your team, and I liked how everybody got to vote on the team before they actually went out. So I just felt like it was a more inclusive kind of social deduction game where everybody had a choice on every single round, even if you weren't part of the team.
Sure. I think, so, spoiler, my number 8 is the Resistance.
What?
Direct crossover, but the only thing that holds Resistance back a little bit is if you're a really bad bluffer or if you let yourself go too quickly as one of the conspirators. Is it conspirators? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well,
it's revolutionary.
It's like people sent
from.
Yeah.
So you can have a bad time if you get outed too early.
Well, you are the Resistance, and the government
or the government
is
side.
sending in spies.
Right.
That's what it is. But no, I get
nobody
you. But
picks you, and then you get to sit there and wait. But other than that, it's really a fun game, and it's quick enough that.
Yeah, but if nobody picks you, you still have a say. It's not like you have to just sit there and be quiet. You can say, look, I don't think he should be going, and I think he's a bad guy.
Absolutely
so we should not put this.
Stuff.
We should not put this team through. And I guess that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about it is that you were never out of the round, even if you weren't part of the team. So that's cool.
Nobody's gonna believe you anymore. Though.
Both of us is number 8.
Yes.
At the same, we did that.
We did that once.
We did that once on both halves last week.
Did we?
I think we did.
Right on.
Well, that's cool. That's our number 8 then.
That's
the
correct.
Resistance from Indie Boards and Cards. All right, my number 7. I don't think that you've played this one, and I don't think it's going to be on your list. It's from Fantasy Flight Games. The Italians designed it. Robert DiMeglio, Maro Maggi, and Francisco Nepatello.
I don't think I have it.
Don't think you have it. I didn't think so either. This one's called Age of Conan.
Yeah, I didn't
The
get to play
strategy
this one.
board game.
I was watching, actually read about this one. Oh, I'm getting in the way, but I thought it looked pretty cool.
Man, it's one of those games where, and I think one of the downsides of the game, because when you have a figurehead that is the person that this whole universe is built around, somebody wants to play him.
Sure.
And this is not that game.
Oh.
You don't play Conan.
Oh.
You play the heads of 4 of the different factions, governments within the game, and Conan is represented. He has his own miniature and all that kind of stuff, but he is part of the game as kind of like events, where he will go and do things at certain times based on whatever event card is flipped over, and you have to either anticipate what he's going to do, possibly going to do, and try to benefit from it, or to keep him back from doing it. But I thought it was a pretty neat game. It has a really cool dice drafting where they're the fate dice, and somebody rolls them, but then that's how you have to pick a die, and that's your action.
Oh, gotcha.
So it has a lot of cool stuff in it. It has pretty cool looking minis in it as well. So it was a great game, and I enjoyed playing it. I used to own it, and I got rid of it. And I really wish I hadn't. But that's my number 7, Age of Conan, the strategy board game.
It looked pretty cool. I saw it on the list, and I opened it up, and I started looking through it, and everything else looked pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, my number 7, Conan couldn't play because it's called Word on the Street. Word on the Street is a spelling game. Therefore, Conan can't play it.
He can spell crumb.
That's about it. Have you ever played Word on the Street?
I have.
And it's got like 5 lanes, and all the letters are lined up from top to bottom. And your team, the best thing about it is your team is trying to move a certain amount of those. I think it's 8 of those letters all the way across the street until they come off your side of the street. And then once they're used up, they're used up. So somebody will say, you have a clue, you pick a fruit, and your whole team has to come up with a word and then talk it out and be like, yep, this is our word. And you only have a certain amount of time. And then for every letter in that word, you get to move those letters over one spot. So if you pick banana, you'll move A over twice and over, a couple of times, things like that. But you're trying to get it over twice and then off the board. If it's on the other person's side of the board, obviously you have to move it farther to get it to you.
Yeah.
The funniest thing about this one, though, is the other team can continuously talk during your turn. In fact, that's one of the rules is, you're trying to throw them off. So you're trying to give them words and give them ideas of letters that are already gone or letters they don't need, or just to kind of confuse them while their time is ticking off.
But, wow. I think I would be telling somebody to shut up most of the time. I'm trying to
pick banana again. Pick banana again. No, I don't know. But it's a fun game. The two sides can get rowdy. Obviously, you can argue with your team about a word, but
that's cool.
You don't have time to noodle it out because your timer's ticking down.
Yep.
Like, well, 3 moves or 4 moves, you don't have time for that.
So it's a real time game then?
Yeah, well, it's just a timered game, so
right,
your team only has a certain
amount of time.
Flip over the sand timer,
round. Right,
like a minute or whatever.
No, I remember playing this game. It just never really. I've never been a huge word game person.
I'm not a word game person either, but this one was very fun.
I'm really picky about the games that I play with that are words games.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't not enjoy it. I just didn't really ever play it that much. My number 6. My number 6. Last one of this half. Now, this one was my jumping or stepping in point for this game. This actually is a game that's part of a series that began, I think, around 2005, 2004, something like that. And it's called Wings of War, Fire from the Sky. And this is another Fantasy Flight title designed by Andrea Angiolino and Pier Giorgio Paglia.
Wow, that's a name.
Yeah. And it's World War II. It actually started off, I think, the original version of the game was World War I aerial combat. And so you had your planes, and I think originally the planes were just cards. And you could play other maneuver cards so that your plane card was here, and then you would play your maneuver card that has a turn this way, and then you would move your card over to that like that, and that's how you flew around the table. Well, with Fire in the Sky and right after Fire in the Sky, they started adding in miniatures. That the miniatures were out there on a cardboard piece of paper, and you would fly them around the same way, but the miniature was out there, and that's what I liked a little bit more.
Sure.
More than the actual card version of the game. And I just thought it was a neat. I was back in the day when X-Wing first came out. I really enjoyed playing X-Wing, and Fantasy Flight actually took the rules for X-Wing and applied them to Wings of War. And that's where I kind of did the jumping off point, because I'm not a huge tournament level type playing kind of guy, and that's the kind of rule sets that they put into it. And I just didn't like it that much after that. But this one I had, and I really enjoyed playing it, and I love the idea of having World War II aerial combat, which is what Fire in the Sky was. And everything else before that was World War I, if memory serves correctly.
Was it 2D aerial combat or 3D?
Well, that's the thing.
Was there an elevation?
Yeah, it was. There was the. I think they added into it later on after I had stepped out of it. I think they added in the third dimension of depth, height, and all of that other kind of stuff. But this one was pretty much just 2D.
Cool.
But I really enjoyed it, so that's why it's my number 6. Wings of War, Fire in the Sky. Fire from the Sky. Sorry.
Sweet. Well, my number 6, the last one of this video, the last one of the bottom half, is a small card game, still pretty popular today, I believe, called Jaipur. Jaipur is a
slow clap.
Slow clap.
Well done. Well done.
Why are you slow clapping? Why is okay? Anyways, it's a 2-player only hand management game where you're trying to collect these tokens, chips of all of the different types of resources. But on your turn, you can either take from the card row, or you can sell. And depending on how much you sell, so you might, when you sell like 2 of a kind or 2 of one type of thing, you get to take the top 2 chips. But if you sell 3 or 4 or 5, you get to take an extra chip that gives you extra points that are kind of hidden points anyways. But you also have a stack of camels in front of you, and you can use those camels judiciously to when you go to pick up from the row, you either get to pick up all the camels or you get to pick up the cards, but you have to replace with cards that are in your hand or the camels that you have on your board. So it just got this cool back and forth, and you're just racing to get these chips. But if you can wait one more round to get one more of this kind of card, then you can get the 4 bonus, and so it just has a nice balance to it.
Yeah, it does have a nice balance to it. I enjoy this game as well, and it's one of those. It's got kind of an open draft. That's pretty much what it is.
Yep.
You're drafting cards that are in the middle of the table, and they can sit there and you're exactly on point with the tension in the game comes when, man, I could take that right now, but I know I could take those right now and use them immediately. But if I leave that one on the board, my opponent could take it, and now I've lost it, and I can't get back unless they choose not to use it. And usually it's one of those beefier cards, that because there's fewer of them out there.
Or you have to replace it with something in your hand that you're pretty sure that they want.
Yes.
So
exactly.
Yep.
So that's a good pick. I like it. I like it. All right. Well, that is our bottom 5 from 2009, numbers 10 through 6. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We are going to be doing our top 5. You will find the link to that video in this video's description. I have been doing that. Some people have said that they had trouble finding our top 5. Look in the description of this video. There will be a link as soon as it goes live.
And if you don't see it, click that button that says more.
Yeah. Yeah. The little word says more, ... Click that.
Where's that one?
And you'll see it. Anyway, thank you for joining us. We're going to get on out of here. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side for the top 5 on Monday. Take care.
See you on Monday.